Love the Freddy sweater.
Thanks.
The most colorful you've been all season.
I know. It's funny, Halloween, all my colorful clothes come out.
Hello and welcome back to the Rewatch Recap, where we recap shows for nostalgia and pure amusement. I'm Dustin, here again with Kay from Fuck My Work Life. Hello, Kay.
Hello, Dustin.
Hello.
Hello, Dustin.
Hello. Well, this week is Halloween week, and we're so excited because these are the last 2 episodes of Dead Like Me ever. So we're getting down to it, and of course, Kay is taking the penultimate episode. I love saying that ever since I figured out what it meant.
It's a good word.
So it's one of my favorite words. This episode is episode 14, titled Always, and it originally aired on October 24th, 2004. I'm really sad to say goodbye to the show this week.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
It came
anyway,
up fast.
Yeah, it did. It really did. Okay, so Kay, take it away.
Yes, sir. Previously on Dead Like Me, Mason murders Ray, turning him into a graveling. Rube searches for his daughter after discovering money he sent after he was dead, never made it to her. JD gets hit by a car, and Charlie the Reaper Kid was there to take his soul. And Graveling Ray is terrorizing Daisy. Dead Like Me intro.
Look at those Reapers. They're running around town. But not George, who is brushing her teeth. I changed it up that time. I don't know why, but I had a feeling. You're right. Wait, what? That's okay. Continue.
Okay. We start with the George narration. Ask most kids what their favorite game is. They'll probably say hide and go seek. And we see George hiding in the bushes of the Lass's backyard watching Reggie and Joy. I know I loved it. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. For most kids, the fun of the game isn't in the hiding. The fun is in being found. But not for me. I didn't want to be found. Ever. And we see young George playing hide and seek in her backyard with a group of kids. And she's hiding under the house as all the other kids are finding each other. She's like, they'll never find me.
You know what I realized? That George, young George especially, reminds me of my cousin's daughter. I call her my niece, but because we're so close. But yeah, like apparently she went to, she's in the Girl Scouts and they give her a badge to go to a Grizzlies game, Memphis Grizzlies. So she went, but there's pictures of my cousin took pictures of her reading a Harry Potter book throughout the entire game. It just feels like a George thing.
Yeah, understandable. And then we see a flashback to Rube, and he's sitting at a dining table and he's playing kind of hide and seek peekaboo with his daughter Rosie. And she's like, "Come and find me, Papa." But he wakes up in a cold sweat, so it turns out to be like a dream memory Rube was having. Back in present day, George walks into Der Waffle Haus and tells Tiffany that she's over oatmeal, no more oatmeal, and she'd like to see the menu. She asks if she's the first one there, but Tiffany points to Mason, who has spent the night at Der Waffle Haus in the kitchen, and Tiffany is pretty upset by this, and she tells him he can't sleep there. It's unsanitary, and Mason starts retelling about his dream. He's like, "Wow, I had this dream last night about waffles, and it was really horrible because I was being chased by a big butter pat, and I couldn't get anywhere because I was waist high in maple syrup."
It sounds like Mickey Mouse's Castle of Illusions, because there was a room full of Jell-O, and you kept sinking into it.
Oh, Mason. So George is wondering why he slept there, since she said that he could stay with them. But as Daisy arrives, he says that she won't let him stay there because she doesn't think it's wise. So he says that he'll just continue to stay in the booth and put the house back in der Waffle Haus. But Rube has arrived at this point. It's like, no way. This is a place of business for them and for us. And he's like, you wouldn't sleep in your office, would you? But George is like, I have actually. And it was a really good sleep. Drool all over the keyboard.
I woke up, didn't know where she was.
Yeah. Rube hands out the Post-its and basically tells them that he wants to be alone and to take their breakfast to go and leave. And as they're walking out, Mason tells Daisy that, she should be nice and let him stay with them. And she says, I am nice to you, and I want to continue to be nice to you, which is why you cannot live with us. And she looks at George and is like, don't you make promises about our house without consulting me first. And Mason's just like, well, fine, fuck it. I guess I'm just going to live on the street.
Yeah, I don't understand. Mason did give them the house, so he at least has earned at least a temporary stay.
Yeah.
It's kind of crappy. I'm sorry, Daisy.
I mean, I get her point. We find out why. But yeah. She's not just being a bitch. Where was I? Oh, just then, Penny, the Reaper nurse from last episode or a couple episodes ago, walks in and Mason gives her a big hug. He's like, Penny. And then Tiffany walks up and says hello. And, George kind of figures out that Penny was part of Rube's Post-it squad at some point. And she replies, yes, long before Post-its were in vogue.
Yeah. So Tiffany, there's no way she doesn't know what they are.
Yeah, she has to.
She has to have figured this out by now. And they don't tell her, but they know she knows and she knows. You know what I'm saying? She just understands and just lets it happen.
Yeah. Well, we find out, we already had the episode where we find out supposedly she's psychic, right?
Yeah. So she can't be, she has to.
She knows.
She knows somehow. She might not know exactly what they are, but she has a feeling.
Mm-hmm. So George says, I take it you've been dead a while to Penny. And she's like, that depends on what you think a while is. And Mason's like, Penny's been dead forever and a day. And George asks how she dies. And she's like, boating accident. George is like, sailing, water skiing, fall out of a dinghy. And she says, bigger. And I immediately thought Titanic.
Oh, of course. That was the point. Bigger. Yeah, we know. It's been a long time. Big boating accident. Come on.
Mm-hmm. And then we find out there was a bet between all of them about 30 years ago about what year Rube died. And George says 1927. And do we know if that's correct? Did we find that out at some point?
That seems about right. 80 years.
Yeah.
Or almost. It was always almost 80 years. So yeah, that's about around the time frame.
Now we're at the last house, and Joy asks Reggie if she wants oatmeal for breakfast. And she says, I'm over oatmeal. No more oatmeal. And it's so weird how linked her and George are in their lives. And Joy is in the process of meticulously bagging, labeling, and boxing JD's items, like his collar and his bowl. And Reggie's like, what are you doing? And she's like, we all miss JD very much. She's like, well, then why are you throwing away your shit? She's like, Reggie, all the qualities you could inherit from your sister, does foul language need to be one of them? But Joy tells her that she's storing his things for later in case they want to get another dog in the future. But Reggie's like, what if JD comes back? What if that wasn't him who was hit? And then she asks, well, what color is George? She's like, what? What color did you label George stuff? The you didn't sell at the yard sale.
Damn. She's I don't remember. Yes, you do. You remember.
Mm-hmm. And Joy tells her that they need to accept that JD's gone. And Reggie's just like, whatever, I'm giving JF a pass. Just for
I love how she named it JF. She could name all her animals just something.
Yeah. But Joy's like, who the fuck is JF? And she's like, the frog that George left me. And Joy's like, Reggie, why do you believe that George left you that frog? Because she knew I needed it. And Joy's like, no. She's like, never mind.
But she's right. That's the thing. She's
exactly right. I know. She knows. But Joy asks if Reggie wants to get out of school early to go with her and Clancy to the pet how is that hard to say? Pet parlor? And Reggie's like, no.
Parlor. Yeah.
And walks away. Back at their Waffle House, Penny joins Rube in the booth and she orders her usual from Tiffany, which Tiffany remembers is iced tea, no ice. And Rube asks, are you still doing that no ice nonsense? And she says, hey, you go down with the Titanic and see how you feel about ice. Boom. She then chose.
Got it. Check.
Guys, I guess right. She then shows Rube a Post-it that says R Sofer on it, and it's her reap. She's not really sure if she's doing Rube a favor or telling him, but because they go way back, she wanted him to know. And then she gets up to leave, and Roxy's arriving, and they're like, "Oh, hey, how you been? Blah, 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 blah." And Roxy asks why Penny's there, and she's like, "Well, Rube's daughter's gonna die today, so take care of the old fool."
Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. I'm hearing something.
Mm-hmm.
My neighbors, I thought they were knocking on the door, but they're not. They're doing something in there, like doom, 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 doom. I'm like, what's going on?
Maybe they're
putting together a cabinet or something. I don't know. Hold on, let me write that down. You never know.
You go with the PG-13 version.
They're putting a cabinet together, but it's not that. It's like a bum, 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 bum.
Maybe they do it like jackrabbits.
That's true. It could be happening. I mean, my other ones were going at it, and it was so funny because I could hear, and then it would stop, and I would hear, and then it would go, I'm like, you guys are changing positions. That's all it is. They're just flip-flopping around.
And then the shower starts.
Yeah. And it goes for a long time.
Yeah.
Because everybody got to get cleaned up.
Good times.
And go.
Okay, now we got to Mason and George, and they're walking outside of some like office buildings, and he's still begging George to let him live with them. And he's, I'd make a really bloody great roommate. You know, I make these boysenberry cobblers that would bring tears to your eyes. And she's like, your breath is bringing tears to my eyes. Seriously, brush your teeth.
Because he doesn't.
No, he doesn't
wash himself.
He's so gross. But he's so cute.
You know you're cute. And you're like, God, you're so gross, though.
Just
it's making me just... I'm glad I'm not there to smell him.
He's actually turned into a really nice-looking older man as well, which I have to say.
Yeah, he's aged well.
Okay, so he's like, I'll live off the wild, you know. I've got cunning. I've got street smarts. And then they come across this busker named Pete Anderson, and he's playing music. And this is played by Gavin DeGraw, an early aughts singer-songwriter of One Tree Hill theme song fame. I don't want to be. Anyway.
I love how he's playing this completely different character, but singing his own songs.
I know.
I mean, he's a great singer. He's got a great voice.
Yeah.
Not the best actor. That's why he has like 2 lines, but still.
But he popped up in like so many shows, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. He was like, I'm trying to sell this.
I'm going to be a triple threat, everybody. But Mason looks at him. He's like, I could do this. And she's like, last time I checked, you didn't exactly have the greatest success in street sales. And he's like, come on, look, he's doing really well. I could do this. And she's like, that's because he's cute and he can sing. And Mason's just, I'm cute.
But you can't sing.
No. Then George gives the busker some money, and she kind of starts flirting with him, and they're chatting, and he tells her that he just moved there from New York, where he was playing the subway systems, and it feels good to be outside again. He feels so alive. And George is like, enjoy that while you can. Meanwhile, while she's talking to him, Mason is like stealing all of the money out of his music case that he's collected.
How shitty of Mason. Stealing from another poor person, basically.
Yeah. And then Mason joins in on their conversation. Okay, really nice to meet you, my rock brother. You know, keep on keeping on and live fast, die young. You know, leave a good-looking corpse. And here's a quarter. I love your voice. Bye. And he like grabs George to like quickly walk away. And he tells her, you know, he just stole all his money. And then we're back at Happy Time. And George is under her desk. And I don't know if she's like fidgeting with computer cords or something when Dolores walks up and says, Georgia lass. And Georgia hits her head on the top of the desk. And she's like, what? I mean,
oh my God. I'm being found out. Like, right.
Dolores is like, Georgia lass. I don't know who that is. You must have heard about her, poor thing. A piece of the Soviet space station fell right out of the sky, and I hired her last year, and let me tell you something. This Georgia lass, and George is like, oh no, this Georgia lass, she disturbed me, and I can't quite shake her. And she gives George the keys to the personnel files and asks her to go get George's file, which is like, she trusts her a lot.
Yeah. That's personal stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Back at the last house, Reggie is in her room and she's just staring at her frog when Joy comes in and asks if she needs anything and tells her that her dad is there, but Reggie's just like, go away.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
we cut back to George in the personnel files room. She's looking for her file and she narrates, usually you can't compete with the dead. No one speaks ill of the dead. Dead people are always nicer, prettier, smarter. Death has a way of cleaning up a girl's reputation. So what the did Georgia Lass ever do to Dolores? She finds her file, which just has one piece of paper in it. But like, she worked there for half the day. How big did she think her file was going to be?
I know. I'm like, I'm surprised they even kept the file. Like,
right. But she's like, actually, the better question was, what the did Georgia Lass ever do? And then we cut back to the Lass house, and in the kitchen, Clancy asks Reggie if Reggie's coming down, but Joy says she's just staring at her frog. And she starts to tell Clancy something, but then she kind of stops herself and says, never mind. But Clancy insists. He's like, how can I pant her if I don't know what the hell I'm dealing with here? And she's like, Reggie thinks JD isn't dead. He's like, that's completely normal. She thinks George left her the frog. He's like, that's not. So Joy tells him that she thinks that she should go back to counseling. But then Claire, the neighbor, walks in and Clancy is like death staring her. And Claire starts to tell Joy that she has some friends who want to hire her. But Joy is like, now's not a good time to talk. But Claire just keeps pushing when Clancy jumps in and is like, what about now's not a good time? Don't you understand? And Claire's kind of taken aback, but Clancy doesn't back down. He's like, you left the gate to our yard open. This is the woman who complains about our dog taking a crap in her precious flowers, and then suddenly the dog is accidentally let out and then he dies. And Joy looks at her and is like, he's just upset. He loved the dog. And Claire looks at him and is like, oh, I'm sorry for your loss. Again. I was like, damn, Claire.
Yeah, that was like jab it right in there.
Yeah.
I am totally Team Clancy at this point.
Yeah. And she's like, I'm going to go now. He's like, you do that. Try not to kill any more dogs.
It's like, I'm going to dig right back at you.
Yeah.
Like,
but Joy is like, damn, Clancy, I still have to live here and see her all the time. Calm the down. They go back to talking about getting Reggie some counseling, but now Reggie's at the top of the stairs and she's listening in. And Clancy's just kind of like stressed out. And he's like, I just feel sick and tired. And I miss the stupid dog. And I miss you. I miss my daughters. I miss everything. No, poor Clancy.
My dude, I mean, I feel him. I feel him in this. Like, in general, life in general, when things change and you don't want them to. I'm like, and you're like, I just really wish things hadn't. I really want things to be back where they were, and when it was a lot easier and I knew what to do, and now it sucks.
But a lot of that's his fault, so fuck him.
Well, yeah, but still, he said he misses both his daughters and the dog, so.
Yeah, okay. So George is looking through other employee files, wondering how many of them have lied to Dolores over the years during their interviews. And she imagines Misty, like, I'm guessing this was her imagination. It was kind of weird. Like, is this a flashback to what actually happened? Or
I think it's what, I don't know. I
she's imagining.
Took it as what happened. Like, she got this from their files and she probably wrote it down. That's why she knew what happened between these interviews.
So she imagines Misty saying, she's got 2 kids named Jordash and Sassoon, and she's married in a couple states.
I totally believe this of Misty.
Yeah.
The damn brand names, Jordash and Sassoon.
I know, but she looks like she's about 16 years old. How does she have 2 children?
Well, they could be twins.
And Crystal saying that she was in the special forces, and some guy walks up behind her to like hand Dolores a file. She just punches him without even looking, completely knocks him out cold.
I think Dolores hired Crystal to be like protection for her.
Right.
Like stealthy protection.
I want to know more of Crystal's backstory. She cray-cray.
There you go. There's the backstory right there. The Dolores and Crystal show. Yeah. And we get to see flashbacks, but also their like interactions at work.
Yeah. I'd be into that. So now we a real flashback to old-timey Rube. And he's sitting at his like little dining room table and he's got a gun when little Rosie wakes up and he kind of hides it. And he says, what are you doing up? You should be asleep, Peanut.
Mm-hmm.
And she asks him where he's going and when he'll be back. And he says soon. And he kind of starts to sing her to sleep as he rubs her forehead with his thumb. And he walks out the door with a gun. But I'm very happy we finally got some Mandy Patinkin singing.
That's what I thought. I was like,
Mandy
I forgot we got this.
Yeah, I can't believe they waited 2 whole seasons. But yeah.
They worked it in. I guess I think they knew that they were getting canceled at this point or something. So they're trying to wrap things up. They're like, we got to put something in for Mandy sings.
If they knew that, then I'm very disappointed with how the show ended. But anyway.
Yeah.
It felt very
they had last minute.
abrupt.
It's so much you can, do.
Yeah. So now Mason and Roxy are at their Waffle House, and Mason is begging her to let him live with her. And she's like, oh, hell no. And he's like, why not? Because you can't. He's like, why? Why? She's like, because I live there and you drive me nuts as it is.
Tell it to him straight.
Yeah. So he's just like, fine, I'm homeless and proud. All these fucking assumptions society makes, man. It's like, get a job, eat food, live in a house. It's fascism, that is. It's absolute fascism. I won't take it. I'm going to live in the moment. I'm going to live off the land. All right, buddy. And then he asks Roxy again if he can live with her. Says he'll sleep in the bathtub. And she's like, then what will I tell my boyfriend? He's like, what? He's like, see, you don't know me.
I love that. And now I want to meet Roxy's boyfriend.
I know. If she has one, or she's just...
I think she does.
Maybe it's the airport guy.
I know. I was hoping. I was like, ooh, bring him back. He was cool.
Yeah, I liked him. So he's like, fine. He steals a steak off of the booth behind him, but Tiffany catches him. She's like, did you take that man's steak? And he's like, he was finished. He wouldn't want us to waste food now, would we, Tiffany? Not when there are starving children in Boston.
I don't understand.
But then she leaves and he steals her tip as well. And like,
that was like
right
after Roxy's like, you're treading on thin ice. You're making all these wrong decisions. He's like, okay. And he gets up and gets the tip. You're like, you're not listening.
No. But that was it for Tiffany. And she's like, get out of my house. And he's like, but this is the Waffle House. And she's like, that's right. And you're dirt out of here. But he's like, Tiffany, I've had a really bad couple of days. And she gives Roxy her food and tells her that like Mason better be gone by the time she gets back. So she takes Roxy's order and then tells him she'll be gone. He needs to be gone. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway. Roxy drags him out of their Waffle House and he's like, this is police brutality. And she tells him that he's pissing all over their home and disrespecting the last living person who puts up with its freeze-dried bullshit. And she says, enjoy the streets, Mason. That's all you've got. And she goes back inside and Roxy tells Tiffany, I'm sorry about that. And Tiffany says, yeah, me too. Like, she didn't feel good about kicking him out, but, with Tiffany, man.
Yeah, and you don't, I know you didn't just steal that that money from me.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I was keeping it warm for you.
Yeah. Bro.
Like, my God. What happened? He just dropped into like nothing. Like it got worse all of a sudden.
I mean, he's a junkie. Like this was his lifestyle, and he's probably just when things go bad, he falls back into bad habits and patterns. Yeah. But Roxy's like sitting at the booth eating her salad, and he walks up to the window outside of her and like waves, and she just closes the blinds on him. And now we're at the weird pet funeral home, and Joy is getting a wicked sense of deja vu when Jed, the owner, comes out and he, asks if they'd like a snack or a cold beverage.
That's a weird thing to ask in a room full of little tiny coffins.
Right. And his demeanor just in general is just like, it's really peppy and like happy. And you're like, maybe a little more somber,
Yeah.
You like, this is a sad time for a lot of people.
He needs to host like a show like little decorating tip for those who like the macabre. Buy a couple of pet coffins and a couple of pedestals. Put those pet coffins on those pedestals and you've got 2 end tables.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really weird. He asks them if they have any question, and Joy's like, I really feel like I've been here before. And he's like, you probably remember it in its previous incarnation as a Foster's freeze. And he like pulls the curtain back and there's still like an ice cream machine behind the curtain. And he was like, no, I was on the grill and my wife was on the till. I'm like, nobody.
No.
And, Reggie's kind of looking at a small little, I couldn't tell if it was like a casket or just a cremains box or something. But Jed tells her that those are for the small breeds, your wiener dogs, your chihuahuas.
You chihuahuas.
And she's like, no, JD was a big dog. He was a golden retriever. And they basically they're not getting good vibes there. And they tell Jed that they need to talk it over as a family. So he leaves and Clancy asks Reggie if they'd rather just take care of JD at home as a family. And she's like, yeah. They leave.
That's usually the best thing to do, especially for pets and kids.
Yeah.
Just do it as a family. Don't make them big to do. I'm not saying you can't. You can if you want them, but I think when it's a family pet like that, it's kind of one of those things you should all participate in a way.
Yeah. But, a lot of people don't have backyards that they can bury dogs in.
That's true. I mean, that's true. If you're able, I mean, yeah.
So we just see a quick scene of Daisy yelling at Ray to go away because he's just been kind of hanging around their house, terrorizing her. And we go back to Happy Time where George is walking up to Dolores with George's file. She's like, dead girl coming through. But Dolores doesn't find it amusing, and George comments on how thin the file was. And Dolores starts to read out loud, attitude, insolent. And George is like, don't you think the better word would be saucy? Am I right or am I right? She was saucy. She keeps reading. Without manners, no respect for authority, ambition, none. George is like, maybe she just didn't share her ambition with you. And Dolores is like, well, I certainly didn't see any. Future forecast won't last long. And George is like, well, you nailed that one.
Well, yeah.
And I guess when it's yourself, you can joke like that.
When it's your own dead self.
Then she tells George that she's giving this paperwork to her mom because her life was so short that anything she might have touched is precious. But George is like, no, you cannot give this to her mom. And she is like a little wide out. We can fix this right up. And even though it's against everything Dolores stands for, she agrees. And we see this little montage and they're taking turns typing. And every time we see George typing, she's adding really pretty.
She's adding really pretty. I like this. And I like that even if it wasn't herself, this would be the right thing to do if you're supposed to be giving something to the mom. Make it just fluff it up a little. You don't have to. You can be honest without being harsh about it, so that it will kind of comfort them a little bit.
Yeah. But nothing seems to be sitting right with Dolores. But then it hits her, and she's like, "I know what to do. I still think we should say." Oh, George is like, "I still think we should say she was a misunderstood genius." And Dolores is like, I think she was complicated, Millie. She wasn't a genius. Very smart and funny, an odd charm, a certain je ne sais quoi. And she decides that she's going to base off whatever she writes up on Millie.
No.
And she thinks that will make Joy proud. And George is like, I thought we wanted to make her seem impressive. And Dolores says, you are impressive. I've watched you. In 1 year, Millie, in 1 short year, you've grown into a fine young woman. I'm sure George's mom would be pleased.
That's kind of cool. She's like, well, she's talking about her. It's just so funny.
Yeah,
I'm going to describe her as you. It's like, well, you're describing her. So it's kind of cool that she sees her in a different light because she has grown.
Yeah. And now we see Mason outside of your Waffle House with a sign that says, I'm sorry for Tiffany. But she's still
with 1 R.
Oh, I didn't notice.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
It's like a up love, actually. It's like
yeah.
Say it
to me. You are
it's dead careless.
Yeah, because it's Christmas. Okay. But yeah, Tiffany's not having it. Now we see Daisy arrive where George and Mason were earlier, outside of the office building, where Pete the busker is still playing music, and she looks at her Post-it and it says P. Anderson, and she picks up his CD and sees the name Pete Anderson. And she says, hard way to make a living. And Pete's like, any day above ground is a good one. Daisy's also like, enjoy that while you can.
I know people love to say that to people. well, you're going to die in a minute. Like,
yeah. And
somebody always says, till the day I die. You're like, it's happening today, but
yep,
okay.
well, you got about 2 minutes.
Yeah, better enjoy this.
And then Graveling Ray appears, and we see him climb up to the building, and he kind of jumps through a window into an office where there's a man on the phone being really gross, and he's throwing like a racquetball or something repeatedly up against one of the windows.
Is he talking to a phone sex operator?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's like, I'm kind of a gym rat. Yeah. Yeah. Spin class, yoga, little Tai Bo. Look, baby, I don't want to brag, but I'm hung like a jury.
What?
Gross. And then back on the ground, Pete, tells Daisy, hey, $1 for a tune. And they banter a little. And then, of course, she runs her hand down his arm, claiming his soul. And he asks, what was that? And she says, it's for luck. And she gives him $1 and says, if you have a good one, now would be the time. So back up in the office, the gross dude continues on the phone. No, I can go all night. I'm like an animal, baby. Yeah, I'm dangerous. I'm like a bull moose in heat. I'm like, credit card. Wait, you need my credit card already?
A bull moose in heat?
Yeah. He's like, all we're doing is talking here, right? I mean, for God's sake, I still got my pants on. But meanwhile, like when he's talking, Graveling Ray is like on the window because it's one of those like, the whole wall is window.
Big panel, yeah.
Yeah, and he's shaking the window pane loose, and with every ball throw, it's kind of breaking away from the seal. And then he throws the ball one last time, and then 2 entire window panes break away from the office
He was loosening
building.
both of them, or they're connected somehow.
Yeah.
Oh.
But they both broke away, and they fall down. And while Pete is playing his piano, a man with a God is watching sign walks by, leans over to give him money and look at his CD when both panes of windows crash into them, killing them both.
Mm.
And now Pete's soul is standing next to Daisy and asks if she killed him. And she's like, no. But then she realizes that there's another dead guy too, and there's nobody around to claim his soul. So she reaches down and claims his soul just as Graveling Ray comes down and looks at both bodies. And I don't know if he was expecting like to get another Graveling out of it because he looks kind of pissed that she grabbed his soul or something. I don't know.
Maybe he was trying to create another Graveling, like he got created.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he's a loose cannon as a Graveling. It's like, I don't know. That does make sense though. That makes more sense now that okay.
Like
he was just trying to create, maybe trying to create a little army.
Yeah, like a killing, an unexpected killing of some sort, or I don't know. But now we're at a nursing home type place. This scene, I know.
Oh no, this whole scene just, wow.
And Penny's looking around, and she walks up to Rube and says she hasn't found out who Rosie is yet, but, she'll let him know. But Rube points down to an old woman sitting alone on a bench by the lawn, and he smiles and says, she's over there. That's Rosie. And he kind of sits down on the steps, and he's like, I don't know if I can do this. And Penny sits down next to him and kind of like holds his hand, and it's really sweet.
What it would be like to see your daughter after 80 years.
I know.
And she's old and she's about to die, and you're still the same.
Same, yeah. And George narrates, we think we can't do something. We think we can't. We think we can't. We think we can't. But we can. And then we cut to Clancy hammering across onto JD's grave. And they ask Reggie if she wants to say something. And first she's like, no. But Clancy's like, he'd like it if you did. So she's like, Dear JD. And Clancy's like, it's not a letter, sweetheart. It's like, shut the fuck up, Clancy.
Stop. I get you're an English teacher, so you're trying to but stop. I get it. But yeah.
Dear JD, if you see George, tell her I said, hey. Tell her it's all right to come back. And tell her thanks for the frog. And she says, I'm sorry I left the gate open. I'm sorry I got you killed. Oh, Reggie.
I was bawling at this point. I was like, oh no, and how she must have felt,
Yeah.
And then Clancy's just like, oh man, I yelled at Claire.
I guess I have to apologize to Claire.
Yeah, but he doesn't get mad at Reggie, which is what I love. I love how he's very it's not your fault. It just happened, Yeah.
It was just JD's time. It was nobody's fault.
And did you see what it said on his grave
Was it
on the cross?
good dog, great friend, or something like
It says,
that?
just dog, good friend.
Oh, yeah, just dog, good friend. Oh, JP. At Waffle House, we see Tiffany sitting in a booth and she's like filling sugar dispensers when Mason comes in with some ratty ass flowers for her that he quote unquote picked from somebody's yard as an apology. But she doesn't want them if he stole them. And he tells her that he's sorry for stealing her tip. She says it wasn't her table, but they all pool their tips. And if someone has a good morning, they all have a good morning. If someone gets stiffed, they all get stiffed. And then she tells him that he doesn't understand the meaning of house. And he's like, it's a place where I can sleep. And she's like, no, it's a place where you can feel safe. And he's like, I don't feel safe anywhere. I've been having a time lately, Tiffany. Just a world of pain. Same old, eh? She tells him to sit down. And she's like, I work hard. I take orders. I bring people their food. It's very simple. No mystery. You know why I stay here? She's like, because you love waffles.
Like, shut the up, Mason. God.
She's like, it's a clean, well-lighted place, and I feel safe. And then she hands him a wad of cash. And he just like, he looks like he's starting to cry. And he's like, I don't know what to say. She's like, you say thank you.
Yeah.
And he tells her thank you. She says, you're welcome. And he hands her the flowers. And she takes them. She's like, you can't sleep here.
But I mean, how kind.
I know.
I love Tiffany.
I love Tiffany. I hate the fact that we're getting all this Tiffany at the end.
Yeah.
I was like,
you're like, oh, there was going to be more. And
there was going to be so much more Tiffany, I feel
just like we were getting more Crystal. And we're like, oh, man. I didn't want to get more Misty. I don't want more Misty.
No.
I was okay with that.
Misty can f off. Okay. At the last house, Clancy says he should apologize to Claire. And then I said, as should you and I, because we both gave Claire worst character last time for leaving the gate open.
Well, you know what? That's what we were led to believe. We can't.
Sorry, Claire.
No, screw Claire. She's still.
And then he asks Joy, what's for dinner? And Joy looks at him like, duff. And he's just like, I just thought, I mean, if Reggie needs anything. And she's like, yeah, thanks, but you should probably go home. And she tells him, you were a good father today. Doesn't make you a good husband. Amen, Joy. But
Yeah.
he's like, I know.
Well, he knew, and it's kind of like, but at the same time, when he like became so stern with Claire and Joy kind of like, I'm so sorry, I'm apologetic. It was like they switched roles.
Yeah.
Where he was like the one that was like, no. And she was like, oh, I'm so sorry. But, just kind of cowering.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what he was doing before.
Yeah. I mean, she's kind of in general mostly mellowed out the last few episodes.
She doesn't have to worry about his dumb ass. That's why.
True. Yeah. So now we come back to the retirement home? No. Old folks home? Nursing home?
Nursing home.
Nursing home, yeah. And Penny is sitting on the bench next to Rosie. And she asks her if she wants to go for a walk or get some dinner. And Rosie says no. She's waiting for someone. And just then Rube walks up and he says, hi, Rosie. And she looks up and she says, hi, Papa. Felt teary-eyed.
I know. Oh, my God. Just like, hi, Papa. And you're like, oh, my God, she can see him.
I know.
She can see her dad, and it's like, I think the powers that be had to have been like, she's dying. He needs this closure too. She needs the closure. Just let her see it. She's so close to death, and it's just like, wow.
Yeah. And I'm guessing when he walked out that one day with the gun was probably the last time she saw him.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Because he said he'd be back soon.
Yeah.
And he didn't come back.
All right. So Penny, kind of runs her hand down, claims her soul, and she tells Rube that she's sorry. And Rosie asks where's he going? And he like sits down and he starts rubbing her forehead with his thumb like he did when she was little. She says, I'll be loving you. Sing it, Papa. And you start singing to her again.
I think the song's called Always, and it's totally, and it's a great Mandy Patinkin song to sing, I guess. It's perfect because it's so subtle, but it's pretty, and you can hear his voice, and his voice sounds so much more youthful than Rube is.
Yeah.
You know? And then he just cradles her.
Yeah.
And she kind of, I guess, dies in his arms. It's like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, he's singing, and we continue to hear him sing as we see Joy and Reggie sitting on the porch, just kind of watching life go by, and Dolores addressing an envelope to Joy, and then George putting her file back in the personnel box. And we go back to the bench, and Rosie asks, "Are you leaving again, Papa?" He says, "No, Rosie, I'm not going anywhere." And then that's where he just kind of holds her, and we assume she passes away. I know.
I mean, I was at the right. I was like, I hope if I get old enough, I hope I found out my mom was a Reaper, and she shows up and
I don't
sings
even
me.
think she has to be a Reaper. I think people are there around us.
But you know what I mean?
Go.
Like,
yeah,
I just want to be able to see them like before I pass. Like, but to help me cross over.
I think they're there for that. Yeah. So now George and Mason walk into George and Daisy's house, and George tells her that she's being selfish for not letting Mason stay there. And Daisy retorts that that's something coming from her, and says she's self-involved is what you are, Georgia. You're always in your own head. It's like you're talking to yourself. And George says in her head, "Am I?"
I love that little cutaway. Am I?
Am I? And George says that Daisy says that he can have dinner there, but then he has to leave, and that she's just trying to protect him. And then they kind of hear that like weird graveling kind of growling noise, and she's looking around. She's like, "No one is safe here. This is where you killed him." And George is like, "He's not coming back." But she says he's already has been. And she tells them about her reap that day, how there was supposed to be one death, but there were two. And that if Mason stays there, he's just going to get angrier and angrier. But Georgia says, like, this is her house too, and she's not scared of anything. Daisy's like, fine. She throws a blanket and pillow at Mason, and Mason thanks George, and he asks George to stay with him for a little while. But she's like, pull the cover over your head. And he's like, no way. It always made me more scared being in the dark. You leave the light on. And she's like, I'll just stay here till you fall asleep, and kind of puts his feet across her lap. And he's like, I don't think I'll ever fall asleep again. But then he like immediately falls asleep.
I know, he just looks at her and goes,
yeah.
Right to sleep.
And then George starts to narrate 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. I guess there's always something out there to hide from, something out there you just can't face. And we see Roxy and Rube sitting at the bar at their Waffle House. 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi. So you'll hide for as long as you can, but that's not easy either, all that hiding. And then we kind of see something looking at George and Mason on the couch, and we hear the little graveling noise. 5 Mississippi. George slowly gets up off the couch. In the end, what you were afraid of turns out not to be so scary after all. 6 Mississippi, 7, because you have to know that if you're hiding, more often than not, your fears will come looking for you. And she's kind of scanning the room, and she says, come out, wherever you are. And we see Graveling Ray jump up on the back of the couch, and he's looking down at Mason. And she's like, I never liked you, Ray. And she goes and she just drags her hand down Graveling Ray's arm, and it looks like she's claimed a soul, but Ray just turns to dust.
She obliterates his ass.
And she looks at her hand, like kind of in shock, and she's just like, polyoxin-free. End of episode. So good.
Wow. Like, I love it. And I'm like, it makes you question, is she special, or could any Reaper have done this?
Right.
Or it became so instinctual for her to do it, it looked like, because she kind of was surprised that she did it afterwards.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. Is she special because she was seeing the Gravelings as a kid?
Right. Yeah. And like they, were going to go after her and stopped her. Like they knew something. Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I wish
we knew.
I know. I think we get some answers in the movie a little bit, but it's not great for, at least gives you some closure a little bit. So yeah. And I kind of like what happens for her. That's all I remember from the movie is how her story ends up. But anyway, we'll get to that later. Okay. Wow. Yeah. I also think that Rube was probably coming clean to Roxy about everything.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Because she kind of knew stuff was going on. He's probably like, I'm going to tell you just so you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody else in the group, not just Penny, because she's not really in the group anymore. So, okay. Wow. So here comes the point of the show where we start doing our rankings. And first off, we'll start doing our favorite moments or funniest moments or quotes from the show. So do you have one, Kay?
Yeah. I've got like 2.
Okay.
So the first one was when Daisy said that he can stay for dinner, but then he has to leave. And George is like, so what? Is he a dog now? Should we just put food in his bowl and leave it out back? Mason's like, I actually wouldn't mind that. And they're both like, shut the f*** up, Mason.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I love it when like Dolores is telling Georgia Lass. She was like, it was a girl named Georgia Lass, and she heard Georgia Lass and Georgia Lass. She was like, here's the personnel file. Remember, Georgia. She was, Jesus, I heard you the first 3 times. She just kept saying Georgia Lass, Georgia Lass, Georgia Lass.
Yeah. The other one was also in the last scene in George and Daisy's house where she like finally relents and is like, yeah, you can stay. And then she's like, stay out of my bedroom. It's like, that's no fun, my darling.
That's no fun.
That's no fun, my darling.
Oh, God. Another one. I had another one. It was that, did you take that man's steak? And Mason's like, he was finished. And we wouldn't want to waste now, would we, Tiffany? Not when there are children starving in Boston.
In Boston.
What? Why Boston?
Oh, buddy.
Oh, God, these people, I swear. Okay, now we're going to move on to our best characters or favorite characters in the episode. Usually we do 1, but you can do 2 or 3, whatever, because I did.
You did 3? I did 2.
Okay, I'll start with mine. Well, since I have more. My first one is Tiffany for teaching Mason and the audience a wise lesson.
Mm-hmm. Are we just going back?
Oh, yeah, back and forth.
My first one was also Tiffany because we finally just got more of her and she's just awesome. She's like a no nonsense, just like, I will do whatever I can for you, but you don't f- with me.
Yeah. And you respect it too, because she's so nice at the same time. You know? My next one is kind of it's Rube for facing his past and saying goodbye in a beautiful way.
Yeah.
How he handled everything and then kind of with grace, and it was just, he had to do it and he did it. And it was kind of sad, but it was also great, I think.
Yeah. My second one was Penny, because even though she knew it was kind of like against the rules, she gave Rube that like last goodbye with his daughter, which I thought was cool.
Yeah. I think she knew that it just had to happen.
Yeah.
And my last one is George for finally getting rid of Ray.
Because badass.
And to the best, she's like, I'm not scared of anything. You're like, you know what? I believe her.
Yeah.
She's like, Ray, I never liked you. And he looks at her like, oh crap, what are you about to do? Like, he gives her that second glance, look like, what? Huh? And then she just reaches out, and then he just crumbles. It was awesome.
But like, can she start doing that to all the Great Whites? And there's no Great Whites anymore. But anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. Or maybe it was just because he was the way he was born.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay, so yeah, our worst character of this episode is, you go first.
Mason.
Oh.
Like Mason I know he was struggling, but he was doing a lot of shitty things.
Yeah, he was.
Stealing people's money, just, I don't know.
I mean, I know how you're saying that Daisy was worried about Bray and whatnot, but I think she was still being, she could have brought that up at the beginning, and said, hey, look, I'm worried about this situation. This is why. But she just kept being mean. And it was like, just explain yourself. Like,
yeah. That's kind of her character, though.
Yeah.
But you think they've like reached a point of friendship where she wouldn't be that way anymore, but
no such luck.
Nope.
No. Okay, we come to the end where we give our Graveling rankings from 0 to 5 Gravelings. What do you have, Kay?
I gave it 4.5.
Ditto here, 4.5 Gravelings.
I think there's a lot of really great moments in this. The whole Rube storyline was just so touching and sweet, and
getting him to sing finally.
Getting some Mandy Patinkin singing, and like just seeing Tiffany was awesome. And then of course the end with George killing Ray or getting rid of Ray.
Yes,
it was just
that was
so good.
Finally into that stupid Ray storyline. I mean, it served a purpose. I get it, but it's still like, it was kind of cool to see, oh, she just instinctually did that. It was just kind of neat. And I was like, oh, this is something we learned. All right. This is neat. Yeah. She's different. She's got to be different from the rest. There's something about her.
If only we knew where that was going.
I know. Oh, well. So what did you think, Rewatchers? Did you like this episode? Would you give it a 4.5? Higher? Lower? Let us know in some comments. You can comment on Spotify or, wherever you're listening, or on the YouTube. So if you're subscribed, and you can just, know when new episodes are coming out and comment on our stuff and give us some feedback. We would like a little community in here.
Yeah.
You can find the Rewatch Recap on TikTok at the Rewatch Recap and on Blue Sky. You can also find Kay on TikTok at FMWL Pod. And she'll have some more links in the show notes, so you can check that out too. And she's got an episode, should be out by now, maybe. Is it coming out? Okay.
Hopefully next week as we are recording, so middle of October.
So it'll be out by now. So go look for Fuck My Work Life wherever podcasts are played, and you'll see back episodes as well as the new one that's coming out this October. So thank you, Kay. We will be back on Thursday for the series finale of Dead Like Me, the day before Halloween, even though it's a Halloween episode, so it kind of works. So we will see you then. Stay spooky, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.